Tropical storm Ma-on emerging over the South China Sea. So it's moved through the Philippines and it's now just moving off the western coast of Luzon. Tropical storm Ma-on, Philippine name Florita, at 18.5 degrees north, 120.1 degrees east by our latest estimate. It's around 50 kilometers off the coast now as of 9 p.m. Philippine time this August 23rd, moving northwest at 12 miles per hour or 19 kilometers per hour. Winds of 60 miles per hour and a pressure of 988 by our latest indications, and we expect that intensification will begin again fairly soon once it moves a decent amount offshore. Here it is displayed on the map in relation to the Philippines and its wind field, which has grown a little bit during that land transit, and the wind field will probably grow a little bit more as it progresses west-northwestwards. Signal 3 warnings are still in effect for northwestern Cagayan, northern Apayao, Ilocos Norte and the western Babayan group of islands. Distances currently 60 kilometers from Laoag, 413 from Dongsha Atoll, 681 from Shanwei, 744 from Hong Kong and 787 from Shenzhen in China. The storm will be headed towards that general direction, although we'll probably pass to the south of those locations and make landfall further towards the west. The primary hazards then are for more flooding. Up to 300 millimeters of further rainfall is expected in northwestern Luzon, adding to the currently established flooding situations that are already occurring. Flash flooding is also possible along the coast of southern China and in northern Vietnam late this week when the storm moves through and delivers up to 200 millimeters over there, and probably 250 millimeters in parts of China. So let's take a look at the forecast. This is the latest general idea as we take a look through the rest of the week, and you can see there it passes just south of Hong Kong, makes landfall along the coast of China between there and the Leizhou peninsula, and then moves inland and dissipates rather quickly. It doesn't take that long for it to happen at all over northern Vietnam. The rainfall from the residual cyclone remnants will continue and persist for quite a bit longer probably, and move further inland towards the rest of Indochina. Currently, maximum sustained winds we're estimating at 60 miles per hour, although other agencies are higher. JMA is still saying a typhoon at the moment by our standards, but JTWC and Pegasa are currently hovering around the 60 mile per hour mark. Satellite estimates are generally saying just a tad higher, although they're not as reliable over land as the storm has been in recent hours, so hold that thought for a while. This was the last Pegasa warning map from the 8 p.m. update, showing the storm there perched on the northern coast of Luzon. It's certainly moved further west by now. That was as of 5 p.m. actually. And they expect it will become a typhoon, as does every other agency, to reach typhoon status and probably 85 miles per hour if the JTWC is to be believed. And then this is GFS model showing what happens next, moving into southern China there as a typhoon, quite possibly, certainly bordering along that typhoon status for its whole traversal. Some people suggesting it might rapidly intensify a little bit. I seriously doubt that, although stranger things have happened in the South China Sea, so it can never be completely ruled out, but I would be surprised if it gets beyond minimal category 2. Here's the water vapor imagery showing just how those yellow areas with the huge amounts of moisture packed in there near the central core of the storm certainly gives rise to massive rainfall potential and flooding potential, and where the high rain rates are, that's where your potential for flash flooding is, and even in general the longer, more sustained rain rates over parts of China and already with further rainfall in the Philippines is going to lead to more flooding issues. Well, let's actually take a look at those rainfall estimates. You can see the progression here, those red areas denoting around 10 inches, which is 250 millimeters, and there's quite a few areas of that, particularly in the northwestern Philippines in Luzon. I think the maximum there is about 12 inches, which is 300 millimeters. That's further rainfall on top of what we've already received. And along the southern coast of China, there might be some pockets of 10 inches there as well as the storm fades inland. And still further west, you can see some elevated numbers in a few other areas as well, still getting towards 6 inches probably. That would be 200 millimeters, 150 millimeters I think actually. So still quite substantial rainfall amounts. Sea surface temperatures are pretty warm all the way towards land. Approaching 30 degrees Celsius, maybe one or two areas might top that actually, and if the storm does end up in the Gulf of Tonkin, it's got really warm waters in there pushing 31 degrees, but the storm might be able to sustain itself for a little bit longer. That's if models continue to trend south, and they have done so far, so maybe that is a possibility that it enters that Gulf as well. At the moment it looks like it's going to move inland before that point. Here's how the storm is looking on satellite this evening, and you can see there that the center is opening up again. You can quite clearly see where the center is, just now moving off the coast of Luzon, not very quickly either just yet. And then you've got that convection blowing up on the western side, and then that other band further out to the west. At the moment it looks like on the eastern part of Luzon there's not too much going on. There's still some flare-ups going on, but on the western coast that's where we're really concerned about much more rainfall still yet to fall, as we've already seen, on top of what we currently have down there. But certainly in terms of the storm structure, there's something to work with. You could argue that might be a sort of an eye, whether that translates on the ground to an inner core, we're not fully sure, but I imagine that strengthening will start again in earnest fairly soon. Let's take a look at another imagery. This is a longer term imagery and zoomed out as well, showing you on the water vapor how that's been looking. The southern side really blowing up massive amounts of convection there, almost monsoonal like down there on the southern side. So Manila obviously getting some rain there as well. Most of that though is over the South China Sea, but once it does get towards Hainan and towards the southern coast of China, those are the areas we're going to be looking out for much higher amounts of rain. It's all going to be on the southern side of the storm, but the strongest winds are probably going to be towards the east and northeastern part of the storm. Let's just see if there's some more imagery here. This is the rapid scan. Geocolor imagery from Himawari 8 showing you the progress there, moving gradually. It does actually appear that at the moment that movement might be west, at least for the time being, but we are expecting west-northwesterly movement, and probably the storm tracking very close to Dongsha before moving on towards the southern coast of China, probably just to the west of Hong Kong and Macau. But that is the latest we have right now on Tropical Storm Ma-on. We'll have more updates as and when necessary. Obviously this is still a dangerous storm for the places ahead of it, and we'll be back with more updates soon.